This is Freedom Cobra, and today I got good old girl Sally Jesse with me, along with another 410, and today we're going to show an alternative way to bow hunt. Well, let's get to it. So here are our tools of the trade. What you can do is you can take your 410 or 12 gauge birdshot round, cup them out. I like to save my shot for other reloading purposes, but you cup them out so that way you can take your arrow, which you have to trim the fins. If this is a smaller arrow, but this is for the 410, but you trim the fins so that you can coax it right down into the shell a little bit better, and that way when it's going through the chamber it tightens up on the arrow, but doesn't cause a jam or any such thing like that. So that's our 410. And then I haven't exactly decided how to do the 12 gauge the most efficiently. I just let the whole cup and everything stay in there, so we'll just try to launch it straight out of this. But this is a crossbow bolt with just a standard field tip. And with both of these shotguns we're going to breech load them, because I doubt you could use an arrow and an auto loader, right? Alright, so with the 410 chamber, it should just pop open, feed the arrow right down in. It should stay into the shell a little bit, but like I said, use a twisting maneuver to further it down the barrel. And everything will lock up just fine, and you should probably have a point out here, so if you wanted to use an actual hunting dart, you could screw on your normal broadhead, or hunting arrowhead instead of our standard target tips. Now the 12 gauge, on the other hand, might be a little bit harder to load the arrows into, because the fletchings will semi-hold them where they're supposed to be, so they don't fall out. But then, since we didn't modify the cup, it'll just kind of fit over top of it. So it should still push in. If anything seems especially jammed, then I'd change that up. And I'm just using the crossbow bolt in the 12 gauge just because the fins are a lot stronger and this is a lot stronger of an arrow, but I'm sure you could use a full arrow and do the same thing, put a hunting tip on the end of it after you have it loaded through the actual barrel of the shotgun. So without further ado, let's go show you the results.
Alright, let's kick this puppy. Freedom Cobra fears few men and only some animals. First up is the 410. Are you excited? I am. Ooh, yeah. Let's go up and take a closer look. Hold it. Can you say penetration? I can. It destroyed the arrow, but by God did it sink it into this foam target. Now for old Sally Jesse's turn. I'm not quite sure which trigger sets off which barrel, so we may have to try it. Maybe 2 trigger clicks, but we'll see what happens. So we load up the arrow. And we take our modified shell, make sure it goes around, fits inside of the cup. And let's try to destroy a better arrow. Fire in the hole. First click, here it comes. Take that, Robin Hood. Let's come on up and see what happened. Isn't that a beautiful thing? We have the cup. It actually pierced. The power booster doesn't seem to be pierced, but the actual cup itself is.
Let's take a look. Wow, I'm kind of surprised. Let's see how deep we penetrated this arrow! From my thumb to the point. And other than that, the shaft looks solid. And I do believe we could try this again using the same arrow. So, the quick down and dirty recap of this is when you are loading the shells, you're going to have a lot of unburnt powder, and you're also going to have to find a really good way of seating them in there, because as we saw with the aluminum arrow, which actually survived the shock from being shot out of a shotgun, it punctured the cup and booster and kind of locked in there when it flew out, and still had the part of the cup attached to the back of it. So I suppose it'd be better to put a piece of cork or something else, maybe a piece of cork that would envelop the dowel, so that way it'd have a more positive way of ejecting out. The other thing you'll have to be aware of is when you're shooting these kind of loads, that it's going to leave a whole lot of powder. This isn't going to work, but it's going to leave a whole bunch of unburnt powder inside of the actual barrel. So if you plan on shooting multiple rounds, make sure there's no powder or obstructions or any parts of the cup or anything else that could lead to a malfunction or a blockage.